All right, good evening, everyone, for our regular meeting of April 11th. I cannot believe that. Please join me for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah, do I say? That was a little. All right, again, first thing on our agenda is any public input. I see nobody. Mary, is there anybody on? I see nobody on Zoom. Be a quiet, quick meeting. Okay. Correspondence, anything else besides what you've given us here? Okay, excellent. Consideration for the minutes of March 20th. I believe that was our public hearing.
Yes,
I'd make a motion that we approve the minutes of our March 20th, 2023 meeting.
I'll second it.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion on the public hearing? Mary did a nice job with the minutes there.
Is the public hearing, not town meeting, right?
It was the public
No,
hearing.
public hearing.
It was the
I'm gonna
public hearing.
That's our thing, make the public hearing.
We'll abstain.
Yeah. that's
Yeah.
the one.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
So I say an aye.
Aye.
All right, and then we have one abstention. Okay, thank you. Again, consideration for the Board of Finance special meeting on the next night, March 21st minutes. You guys have that?
Like make a motion to accept the minutes. The special meeting of March 21st.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any other discussion on those minutes? Try everybody's mind. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, let's mark it show unanimous. Excellent. We'll try to slow down here a little bit. So anyway, Brad, again, consideration to appoint the new auditor for next year. Is that correct? Can you just go over that a little bit?
So PKF O'Connor Davies has been doing our audit for 5 or 6 years now. The partner that we use from there, the town of Bethel's been with 25 plus years. He's just been with PKF for the last 5 or 6. He sent me an engagement letter, which I shared with all of you. He said they've been going out at like 7 to 10% for increases. He held us at 6%. Everybody's just quoting inflation. I know, like everybody else, are having trouble getting staffing. The audit is done. The town attorney has been out for the last couple weeks. So once the town attorney issues a legal letter, that's when the last thing to do with the audit pretty much says we don't have any litigation going on. Then they'll file the audit and we'll file it with the state. So that's pretty much it, unless anybody has any questions.
Again, the audit that you're talking about is done, but
Yeah.
this
This is
request is for the following year.
2023, yeah. We need to file with the state in May. Who's gonna do our audit? Last year, we were a little late because I didn't realize we had to do it. The state said you could do it at your June whatever meeting. This year, I'm like, why are we waiting that long? Let's just get it done in April. So that's why I'm bringing it to you in April. And last year was like June 5th or whatever the meeting.
Brad, pursuant to prior discussions, since we are the ones that are supposed to be presenting this, will we get to see the audit before you
Yeah.
finalize it?
So the auditors finalize it. There's really,
Well, I mean, before you
Except.
yeah, so once,
file it, yeah.
so I could have them send me the draft of it, but pretty much the audit is the audit. I don't even get any say in what the final thing is. I understand your point.
Just because the charter says it
Yeah.
and we were talking
Yeah.
about that.
So, yes,
We should
so
probably just
once
look
he
at
has the final draft, I can send it out to the board. So,
All right.
And this is part of a state requirement that it's gonna be put in a file up in Hartford, basically. Is it?
Yeah.
That's basically what it is.
So it's for 2024, right?
so this is for the 2023 audit.
Oh.
So year ending June 30th, 2023.
Uh-huh.
Right.
The 2022 audit is done but not finalized yet because they're waiting for the legal letter.
Right.
Um,
It's audit, but it's two different things we're
Yeah.
talking about here, just so you're.
I will request updated copy of the draft because they had the old org chart in the first draft of it.
Oh,
They
you
had
remember
the
that.
wrong Board of Finance members on.
Oh, yeah.
Boxes.
So,
Thanks for bringing that up,
I
Brad.
know.
Yeah.
but I wanted to let everybody know when they sent me the draft,
You-
I
this
looked
is
at
the
it,
time-
well, the
this
old
is the
one,
Time to put the old.
but it
thing.
had.
Right.
It had the wrong treasurer on it. It had, some of that stuff doesn't get updated.
Who does,
So-
who updates that stuff? The organization.
The auditors usually pull it. They're so short-staffed. That the partner that we've had for like 25, 30 years, who normally oversees it. was doing a lot of the legwork to get it
Oh, my
done.
goodness.
They just, I guess he's had 4 people out on maternity leave on his staff in the last, and there's not people sitting at home looking for jobs that you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
hire.
But before
It's everywhere.
you file it with the state, that organizational chart should reflect the current.
It is. I had him update it.
Right.
I had sent him, once the board's voted on it.
Yeah.
I sent it to him 5 months ago. He's had it. He go, oh yeah, I forgot to update it. It's,
He had it early, he just didn't put it in, right, I got
Yeah.
you.
Was there anything in the audit that popped out at you, or you were satisfied with what you got and we were in
Yes.
compliance and everything was?
so everything looks good. I will say that the fund balance is still at 21%. I know the policy talks about 18. We're still in limbo with the state and the HVAC stuff.
We haven't spent the money, but it's in there, basically.
Correct, and we haven't spent a lot of the money on the police station. For the firing range,
Fine, right,
because
$1
that's
million
delayed.
thing, right.
So it's gonna be higher right now because. Like, we're kind of holding $2 million back. For the school HVAC. If we don't get that grant and that project goes away,
And money comes.
I think that's pretty clear. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the way I looked at it.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely what we.
but I just wanted to show you that, like, it's gonna be a higher number.
Right,
It's not like magically the
Not like-
board says you can spend it and it goes.
it's not like you're hoarding,
There's some promises been made, but.
Yeah.
right.
earmarked.
Earmarked.
But
And just,
the policy we created was to have a policy, so if in fact we needed to go from 21 to
To
18.
Yeah.
When we go out and bond money, it
Yeah.
looks like we're
We're just-
doing our plan.
yeah, you're just following what you said you're gonna do, and they would look at that and go, all right, yeah, that makes sense. But the policy then, that if you went down to like the 18. And they wouldn't freak out, they went down to 18,
Well, they
because they'd be
would.
like, all right, they hit their,
There's a policy.
There's
So
spot.
if they knew what you were doing, like you're saying that they can make improvements to the town and if
Yeah.
they knew that money was being held
Yeah.
back.
and they always look at trading an asset for an asset. So
Yeah.
cash is an asset. An HVAC system at the high school.
A
is an
fire
asset.
truck or whatever,
You know,
Yeah.
you reinvest in
Yeah.
the town.
I was gonna ask Chairman if we could talk about how we spend balance fund money. Cause I know that you got clarification from town attorney.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's now or after your report that we should.
I think because we have the big like HVAC project out there that we're still in limbo. I don't know if we would want to go because,
I'm
yeah,
sorry, I just mean the mechanics of it, right? So if I made a motion to buy a fire truck today.
Yeah.
And we didn't have the money in our non-recurring fund.
yeah,
Is there a vehicle to say, oh, I want to use balance fund? I
Yeah.
thought, because I thought you were questioning if we could do that.
so the question was initially was. How do we move it from like the fund balance to like the CNR or the
Right.
tax
Or do we
stabilization?
have to move it? Can we just spend it from?
So if you want to just spend fund balance. The Board of Finance can do it, you'd have to go through a town meeting.
It seems less confusing to transfer it to the CNR if we have to have a town meeting every time we want to spend out of the.
Okay,
General
because
fund.
I just get confused because I remember us making motions and somebody saying, okay, where are you taking the money from, John?
Yeah.
When we were
Well,
paying.
I think we were making motions and we weren't just saying at a CNR. That has to be for the minutes. I think that's where,
Yeah,
No, actually, I think it was the other way around, when we were deciding, are we taking it from balance fund or,
Yeah, but
no, I was wrong.
Well, to clarify, the HVAC, when that went out. It lists out multiple ways where the money could come from. Like fund balance, CNR. And then we had the opportunity to go out and borrow the money too. Because depending on where the
In the
fund
wording,
balance is
right,
at the
I got
time. It's really. If something broke tomorrow and we had to spend $1 million. We don't have enough fund balance to do that 2.1 if suddenly that bill came right away. So that's why we tried it when we approved that big stuff. That's not gonna get spent right away, give you multiple funding options.
but if we came back and said, okay, the HVAC is ready to go. Do we still need to have a public hearing for that, to spend that fund balance? money?
No, because it's been.
Just
it
because
was-
the motion was written for that
The
reason?
motion was written that you could use
Right.
fund balance, you could bond it, you could
Yeah.
do CNR. I don't know if CNR was on there, but I think it was fund balance or
Yeah, or bonding it.
usually now, because we've had an issue that one time we had to go back to a town meeting. When Marty writes the motions up,
It wasn't
he
correct.
includes multiple options.
Yeah.
Even if we had every intent to borrow the whole thing,
You give every option.
you give every option, because say it was a $10 million project. If we had 2 million in fund balance, maybe you only borrow 8.
Right.
So you want to have the
Or
multiple
also we
options.
wanted to have they don't get the grant, then, we had to have that written in as like a stipulation. They have to get the grant. in
Yeah.
order for that.
Yeah,
Right,
Yeah.
yeah, we agreed to talk about it if we didn't
Yeah.
get the grant. The reason we're doing the project is because we're getting $50 an hour. I mean,
Yeah.
you remember that.
yeah, and if so I think Dr. Carver said to the whole board that the first round that the state approved did not include Bethel.
Right, right.
But they've only
Yeah.
approved like a third of the amount of money. So we're still not sure, and we're still in limbo on that.
Yeah.
If it doesn't get approved, then that project's dead. And would need to be readdressed at some point, or
Wow.
depending what the board wanted to do.
We'd start over again.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
funding,
I have a
right.
question for the controller. So tell me more about this, the attorney, there was something you said about the attorney. Wrote a report on the fund balance and.
So he wrote it on the fund balance policy.
Right,
He owes me really an answer on the tax liability.
but when we see that, is that something that we
Yeah,
could
and he
see
gives us an answer on it.
for the fund balance? I thought you said he wrote.
Fund balance is, so fund balance, he gave an answer on.
Your report.
He didn't give an answer on the tax stabilization.
Okay,
of
so
what
those
has to
two will
go.
be combined in a report?
Yeah, at some point he should give us clarification.
Well, when we think that it should be in writing so that we could see
Yeah.
it.
And I asked him, but he goes, I know I owe you that,
Okay,
so.
So-
but
so
but
wait
will
on
it
that.
include the fund balance policy and the tax stability fund?
I don't know, because he already answered on the fund balance. We could combine them, we
You
could
already-
ask. him.
Okay, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I'm not
Yeah.
communicating properly.
I'm just
He
trying not to
already
throw him under
answered-
the bus and say, I don't control how he
That's not
answers.
under the bus, if that's where he does his work, then it's fine, then. The thing is, he already gave it, he already answered, he already weighed in on that,
Yeah.
what, did he say, yeah, cool? Or did he write something for
He
you?
hasn't written anything yet
Okay.
on the tax stabilization.
But
fund.
no, the general fund,
The fund balance policy he did, and I sent it off to the board months ago.
this board,
Yes,
I don't remember seeing it, but
Yeah.
that's not.
I'm
that's
pretty
not
sure I did.
usual.
Can you pull that up and just refresh us and send it? in an
That
email?
would be great.
yeah,
Yeah, and then when the tax.
When then Marty
stability
gets back in
comes
on that, right?
Yeah.
Out of the policy.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
So I just have one more question, and then I'll understand, and apologize for not really grasping. So the mechanics of wanting to fund something, so. 21% is just round dollars, is what, how much money in the general fund?
I think it's been running like 18 million or so. Oh,
No, I'm sorry, the money that we have available through this fund balance.
From the
sorry.
18 to the 21.
Yeah,
yeah,
is how
I
much.
think last time we looked at it, it was like 2 million.
Okay,
But you
so,
yeah.
so let's say today we wanted to buy something for $500,000.
Yeah.
So the mechanics of it is, I make a motion to move from the fund balance to the CNR account. And that's how we capture the money to then buy something.
There's 2 different ways you could do it, as part of the tax stabilization. Once we get an official ruling on it, but I believe the Board of Finance in one motion can move in excess of the 18% fund balance. To CNR is one of the options. So you have
Without
to
a
move,
public hearing? Without,
I think
What was
just-
it, what did you say, Nick?
without a public
Oh,
hearing?
yeah, right.
that's what we believe,
That's
and
what
we're
we're-
waiting on the answer from Marty.
That's what we're waiting for, a ruling,
okay, but
right?
that begs another question. If we can do that. Take it out of the fund balance, put it in, the tax stabilization account, from what I understood from the erstwhile first selectman. Was that it was to balance off, like during
Any
budget
big-
season,
Any big
if any
increases.
big swings in the taxes, so I mean, now it sounds like it's just a conduit to.
But I believe.
Spending money without a public hearing.
Yeah, right.
I believe the tax stabilization form and whatever policy. Had like 3 options what you could do with it above a certain amount. And I thought one of them was to put it in CNR as another way. To like stabilize taxes, so you're not having to pull, I'd have to look, I haven't looked at it in a
Because,
while.
I mean, the whole point is taxes, like, that's just business as usual, only you can buy more stuff, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm just trying to grasp
Can
it.
we entertain that,
Brad.
Brad, and maybe put it on the agenda next month, and
Yeah.
so we can just
Thank
get
you,
ourselves
Mary.
back
Mary,
up and.
jotting it
Yeah,
down.
exactly.
yeah,
I didn't mean to open up that can of worms, but I don't know how we would fund.
John, to circle back to your initial question, so you answered like the first one. Assuming that the board can move it to CNR, then you could take it from CNR and not have to go through all that.
Right,
The other option is this board has the ability to spend fund balance. But any fund balance you spend, I believe, has to go to a town meeting.
Tell me.
Right,
So depending on which avenue you wanted to go to. That, say, assuming town council says, yeah, you have the ability to move it from fund balance to CNR without going to extra meetings.
Yeah, but what's wrong with an extra meeting?
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
for the big stuff, big
Yeah, I'm
ticket
just saying.
items,
We're just trying to answer the question of
What do we have to do? What's the mechanic
what's
part
the
of it?
mechanics of
right,
it.
right. the-
You know,
the
like we set up
process.
this tax stabilization that we've never had before. And at some point, we need an answer of what does it really mean?
Well, exactly, because I thought it meant one thing, the way it was explained to me by the erstwhile first selectman.
But if we can hold that over and then
Yeah.
maybe we'll talk about it next.
Yeah.
You know, as an item. Does
Yes.
someone want to make a motion on this new request of for the auditor for 24 to 25, I think.
2022, 2023 annual report.
No, this,
But-
you're asking for the auditor to be approved for next year.
No, for the year that ends June 30th.
Oh,
The
yeah,
audit
I'm
of
sorry,
the
you're-
year that
you're-
ends
I'm
June
sorry.
because then the
And
audit
they'll
starts.
start doing the work after July, I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, does someone want to make that motion for the auditor for
I'll make
22,
it,
23?
I'll make it.
Okay, so we have our motion. Does someone want a second?
I'll second your motion.
All right, and just for discussion, Brad, the money that pays for this is in your accounts?
Yes, it's in the,
And yeah, you're saying 6% increase. So is it a fixed rate or it's an hourly rate? What is it?
it's fixed until there's anything additional.
Extra.
Yeah, and water and sewer does pay a portion of it.
So it's not a number that you know until you get the bill, basically.
Correct. He gives a dollar amount in here of like 93,000.
Yep.
But then suddenly the state passes some law that they have to do all this additional
Extra work.
testing.
Yep, I got you.
So the base is the 90,000,
Yeah,
give or take.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, plus 6%, give or take some new. work.
the 93, I think, included the 6%. He didn't list it as 6% in here, but in his email, he did to me.
I got you. So the 93 includes the
It's a
6%.
new project.
Right. Okay. Any other questions on the auditor? All good? All in favor? The record show unanimous. Okay, controller report, Brad.
This is Brad's favorite.
This is my favorite.
This is where we shine.
Yeah, he really does.
I could actually read it if you went up one font size.
Yeah, right.
You know what? I did actually
This
make,
is by, it's by
I
choice.
mean, I know you say they page.
Oh,
you know,
that's
I
what
did
they
actually
did.
make it bigger this month, John.
Uh-oh.
It may not be big enough.
No possible way.
No. There's
It's
no
bigger,
way.
it may not be big.
No. No.
So when I looked at it, everything looks exactly where it's supposed to be. Fleet maintenance is having a rough year. The trucks are old. Even the trucks that we ordered like 2 years ago, we're waiting for, so we're having to limp along old trucks. Is really the short answer of why that's over. Highway department is working really hard. Or the fleet department's working really hard to keep our highway trucks on the road. Because we're waiting a really long time to get new ones.
Well, they gotta be saving money on police cars, because I don't think they have a car older than a year old.
Yeah. You got a new air freshener. It's gotta go. So this fleet maintenance would be anything that contract the services that they contract out also, right? Obviously,
Yeah,
yeah, any repairs.
And I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses and I apologize, but the numbers up. How much, when you say it's up, or they're struggling,
35.
they're struggling by
now they're
Hey, you're
$36,000 over.
over. it. Got it.
Over,
Yeah.
Yeah,
but everything else looks,
Everything else looks
Yeah.
good. The collection rates are slightly trailing last year, but we're talking about 0.5% difference. And a lot of that falls into timing. How much she collected in back taxes this year versus last year.
all right.
Like, right now, we budgeted $550,000 in the prior year taxes, she's collected 480 of it. Last year it could have been 510 at this point, and that could be your like 0.5%,
Your difference.
you know, like it.
What?
is that anybody, any questions for Brad?
Yeah, so. I'm just looking at the first account for selectmen and it has, the second line is office expenses. And it has that they've spent 108%, 108.5%
Yeah.
of their available budget. What-
Yeah, he hasn't spent any of the selectmen has spent.
Pourquoi? Why would that be that number? But I mean, how can you spend more than 100% of what you have?
Well, just like fleet maintenance did.
Some of it
Yes.
is,
Well, then they have-
we can't help, like if it's postage and postage is up. But like I said, sometimes it is, there's a separate account to 5302. So something
Yeah.
could have got charged to office expense that could have gone to selectmen expense.
Right,
So,
So are you saying the money's in that office in a different account that'll get transferred?
yeah, and sometimes accounts go over a little bit because costs go up throughout the year and we hope to come in under somewhere else. Like
And-
dues and education is $1,000 under it.
and then I just landed on the assessor and their office expenses at 202%. That's the second page.
Yeah, that's a big one, and
Office-
I'm aware of it because they had. She didn't budget for as much. Because the reval this year, all the extra postage,
Okay.
but she hasn't been paid any of her. Auditing out this year because we're doing a reval,
Right,
so
The
so,
money in her account is gonna be okay
I believe so, yeah.
well,
overall.
I don't know, it's April,
That's what I mean. It seems like.
like the
we're not talking
probate
about-
court is like
Probate.
300%.
Well, probate is the account that I always tell you that we bill, you know,
Other
the three
towns,
towns.
Get paid late.
I just want to look at this office expense, well, the registrar voters, I understand that. Just looking through, like, it's just, now Park and Rec, I guess what is Cont serve, CONT? SERV,
It's contract and services.
contract services, okay, that's up 105%,
On park.
yeah. I mean, it's April, so they're gonna go till June 30th, right, so. Oh, that darn Hart bus. I wish it would just blow out top of 4 tires, it just. Yeah.
I guess I ask questions, is there any accounts that you're nervous about fully funding or having to greatly overfund them on June 30th?
Not really, we're still having our utility problem.
Yeah,
Cause when we set this budget this time last year. We thought it would have chilled out more by now, you know, I don't think anybody thought. The Ukrainian-Russian war would be still going on a year and 3 months
Yeah,
later,
we thought it was-
that's nothing. to do
You know.
with it.
so,
That has nothing to do with it. Don't get me started.
but yeah, overall, I think we're in a good place.
But I just don't remember seeing these percentages before this way, like building and inspection, clothing. Do you need special clothing? It's up 113 and 140%.
Gasoline is 109,
Well, gasoline is just gasoline and we know where that.
but we're gonna make it up in other accounts other than that.
Well, that's the thing.
Well, that's why I oppose a question like that is, are you, as a comptroller, are you nervous about any account that's gonna make it look really bad?
No,
But there's pluses and minuses, right? There's some
Yeah.
accounts that would go back into the fund and then would fund the things that went over.
Yeah.
No, I understand that idea.
No, I'm just,
Yeah.
asking the
You're
direct question, is that what his feeling?
It's just that when you see it, you'd say, like, I remember the K9 unit, they were talking about they got a new dog and everything, so that's up 205%. Is that because they got a new dog?
yeah, because the expenses pretty much doubled.
But okay,
Nothing's free.
but didn't they put so they put that in next year's budget? Did we,
Yeah,
And
all right,
that was one of
that was one of the reasons for their
This
increase.
is one of the,
I'm just.
so the budgeting is interesting every year, just
Yeah,
because
well, that's
we're
one word.
waiting for it to pass, hopefully it passes in a week from now. We try to budget things tight. Because we don't want to have all
Because
these
we're
like,
squeezing you. I get it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So sometimes like something like an office expense account doesn't have a lot of room. If you need a $200
I
item that
understand.
you need, and then suddenly you're over
I understand.
25%. So. Knock on wood, we've usually been pretty good about. Having a balance in there, that every time something that comes over. Hopefully we do well on something else.
Right,
You know.
I get that, I get that.
And that we never try to have to come back to you, the board. Because I think we've had this conversation a lot, and I think the members of the board understand that. If those things don't work, we've kind of had this notion that we'll come back and talk to you guys about needing it. Like last year, we talked a lot about the utilities.
Mhm.
I said, I think we're gonna be able to make it else upwhere. Make it else up,
Up elsewhere.
yeah, words are hard. I do numbers.
Uh,
So I think we're still in that same boat, that other things are looking well. Like, we wanna at some point reallocate some of the sand and salt money to the roads.
Right,
Before we come to the board with doing that,
All of our other bills. we
we're
pay.
gonna look at everything
Yeah.
else to make sure that
Our bills. are-
that 100 grand or whatever it is, isn't something that we're gonna need because utilities is gonna blow out, or, you know,
right.
so.
Well, that's why you have a little flexibility within each department.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, there's not a lot of flexibility left. Not to sound like the Board of Ed, where we squeeze this and squeeze this.
But we're almost to the finish.
Yeah, so, you know, but we'll still be paying bills for
Keep squeezing, that's what.
2023 into August.
As they're coming in,
Because
right.
Levine Automotive will send us a bill in the middle of July. But then the fleet has to find time to review it, and suddenly we get that bill in
You know,
August.
it's- right.
Is
you
that
know.
where they get their parts, Levine?
Yeah, a lot of them because it's
They're on
on
Napa program.
Napa, they do,
Oh, well.
because there's, yeah.
But that's the way town government should work, right? So we're not overtaxing on a particular budget and. And then having a surplus and putting it back into the general fund. We don't want to do that.
I know,
because
Yeah.
I hate
That's,
that.
well, but that by asking, or this report looking funny in April. Is we designed that, because if you just overtaxed them and fluffed up the budgets last year. Then the money would just be sitting there and we would keep putting it in.
They never
into
get
the
back.
fund
to zero.
balance.
Right, right.
And then
Yeah.
you can't give the tax money back.
Right, I call
And-
that scraping off the plate, the leftovers. into the
And it's
general
a
fund.
balancing act, because by law, the town of Bethel cannot spend even $1 more than the taxpayers gave them. So that's why we study this thing and go, and we watch it. So that we could come to the board and go, we had an issue with utilities. We need fund balance of 100 grand, and we'd have to go through the, you know. So,
Out of a-
or,
Right,
because really, one of the last things we do, we make some quarterly payments to the pension. But I don't make that last one until I have a pretty good idea. Pensions, you gotta hit 100% of, because otherwise you could have rating issues. But say I made that payment and then came to the board and said, we need 100 grand, you guys said no.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
No, but
If I-
we could say no.
If we had sent the money off to, like, say, pension. And then we needed 50 grand or something, because utilities was way up, because we didn't anticipate it being that much. And the board said, no, we're not giving you the 50 grand. Then we're stuck.
No, it's no.
Okay,
You know.
what does that mean then, as a comptroller? If we said, no, we're not giving the money, what does that mean for the town? I mean, that's irresponsible for this board.
Can't pay the bills.
No, I know,
But
I mean,
we-
literally,
There's other,
Yeah.
so there's always other options, right? So pension's a bad example, because we make that one. You know, we probably do, if we hadn't allocated all of CNR. Is only send 600 of the 650. Or, you know, like, there are other things that we don't, it's short-sighted not to fund 100%. But the last thing we're gonna do is go back with a supplemental tax bill. Unless we absolutely had to, you know, we have fund balance for that. We have the option of maybe not sending the full 650 for CNR.
Or the road.
well, but that
Or the-
CNR was meant on a capital purchase that is not occurring every year, so that would be irresponsible all by itself.
It would, but
it's
it'd be
got
less
money, yeah.
irresponsible than asking the
It's more-
taxpayers.
You can't go
fluid.
back to the taxpayer. If we said we got 89 million.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, we need 89,050,000.
If
We
you-
gotta look where it wasn't
If
spent.
there's
And
650
CNR is
in
an example.
CNR and
Yeah.
nothing's been.
Oh, that wasn't spent
Attributed
up
to
to
it,
the
yeah,
budget.
yeah.
But that's one reason
Where we
that
can
we
pull it
do,
from.
that we do
Reason,
this
yeah.
every month.
Yeah.
So the board's aware. We look at it, irregardless, if we didn't have a meeting tonight. Sebby and I still look at this and go, what's going on? Because that's our job. The point of having a comptroller report in front of the Board of Finance. Is it just that once a month that you guys get it in front of you and go? Let me take a look at it. How's
Yeah.
things trending? How, you know?
I was just asking about the percentages, just
Yeah.
because I'd not noticed them before and you clarified it, so
Yeah.
that was, you know.
They jump out at you, right?
Yeah,
Hundreds, 100.
200%, yeah.
Does someone want to make a motion on Brad's count
I'd
report?
like to make a motion that we accept the comptroller's report tonight.
We have a second.
I'll say, that will,
I'll second the motion.
Will second. Any other discussion on comp report? Brad, thank you and for the information. Appreciate it.
should we vote?
Yes,
You vote, yeah, sure.
I'm sorry, all in favor on the motion? please?
Aye.
I'm sorry, let the record show it's unanimous. All right, I accept the motion to adjourn.
Well, you know, then we adjourn.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
All right.
Thank you very
Mary
much.
can't stop recording until we formally
Oh, yeah.
officially adjourn.